It seemed to me that it was site-specific, it was organic. I actually had no clue what to expect coming here, and I am totally, completely awestruck.
Conceptual background of practicing awe. Practicing is a collaborative workshop process based on the notion that the artistic process is an ideal context in which to address and aspire to personal and social transformation.
Two appraisals are central and are present in all clear cases of awe: perceived vastness and a need for accommodation, defined as an inability to assimilate an experience into current mental structures.
The practice of awe combines the scientifically motivated optimism about awe's benefits for social behavior with the mystical sense of personal and social transformation.
I knew coming into this I was a little out of my comfort zone, because we've talked about this, but as a classical musician, you're not used to showing up somewhere without even knowing what you're going to be singing.
Taking it out of the context of having to achieve awe and just share our process around awe got really exciting for me, and it then started opening up really cool questions about performance itself. What is a performance?
This is the poem called The Dark Night, which is the title piece. We're looking at that to draw on some other text. You'll see how much we're already talking about this kind of stuff.
Having it set up as a context where we practice it and not achieve it allows for more exploration.
The title is supposed to be a little bit evocative, right? What do you mean practicing awe? How do you practice something that you normally only hope for? That's where the mystical element comes in. And the idea of practices comes in, I think, because of aspiration.
I know that we're not doing a performance, we're doing a showing, which really, really changes the conversation entirely.
It seems like less of practicing creating awe and more practicing being available to experience it.
I think Dackerson, that if you think that it's pleasant, it's not awe. He's saying if you think you recovered from it, it's not awe. It didn't happen to you.
I was awestruck, I have to tell you, and it was extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it. And it felt spontaneous, which is part of awe. I think there's awe in the vastness on one side, and there's the ritualistic, day-to-day struggles on this side. It's a metaphor of the mind.
The moments I choose to recount are those in which the shell of my small life has cracked open to reveal this nameless and perennial source. And so I really just want to kind of report back to you the kinds of conversations that other people at Grace Farms have been having about this idea this week, so that you can have it in mind while you guys continue to work.
Have that opening piece of like,
The organ.
and then I could go to a boom.
We reached somewhere together with that.
The kind of fluttering moment that we finally got to when we were rehearsing it before, just kind of like, it's actual kind of cacophony, but it's like this kind of glorious cacophony. It was working.
I liked that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started doing stuff against the window.
I loved that with that piece.
Yeah, me
I
too.
could have sat in that for an
I
hour.
learn it. I want to learn it. So you go one, that's one, and he turns around. We're not doing the turnaround. This one you did. When he went like this one, you did that one, which was awesome. And then he goes away, and then he does.
And then I could go to a boom. Trying something else here, Kenyon. For me, I think the question of practicing awe, I'd say every piece that I create, I go through a process of create and discard until something hits me that I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. I got chills, I got goosebumps from that. Or I'm laughing out loud because it's so exciting to me. But that's the dragon that I chase in my own work. I'm gonna drop in, you'll hear it today, I'm gonna drop in some like stones and rocks that are like
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Little things like that.
So I think the percussive thing for us wasn't really working.
For you to do it, you mean?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's simultaneously really exciting and a little scary because we have a performance coming tomorrow. So I want, my performer brain will want to feel like, we have our ducks in a row.
By practicing, do you mean experiencing it, or do you mean learning how to do it? I'm interested in hearing how you used practice.
The performing arts, music and dance, they've always been part of how cultures, how societies move from one place to the next. The dancers and the musicians creating a kind of what cultural anthropologists would call a liminal space. And performance studies and performers and choreographers, directors have been picking up on this again, that maybe we need to somehow create a space again where we can come to a circle and practice what we hope to be, put it in the body, even though we're not there.
Down, pull back, go, rock, rock, jump.
We've been trying to communicate together. It just seems appropriate that we somehow break the barriers.
I don't get that. I don't get that from...
Can we talk about where we start, like where we're coming from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the moment?
Do you feel like there's any convergence that can happen in your mind between this and something that you guys can put together?
Right now, we're skipping to 3, which is they run, and then he hits a wall. Mm-hmm. Like he hits this, like an emotional or psychological and physical wall.
Forget inserting anything between Eric's coming back and hitting the wall is precisely what our conversations have been about awe.
There's a community and then something happens and they're separated.
It's a combination of fear and kind of pleasure and beauty. It is those things.
Yeah. Especially if we are here.
There was one particular part that I want to ask you about. You almost looked like you aged dramatically when you walked out. Was there something specific in your minds when that part of the piece happened?
This is the beginning of our house emptying, your house, like this space emptying, and then the awe kind of waits for you outside. And it's not immediately there waiting for you. It's still a process and a journey, but yeah, it's the beginning.
I think we're a little vague right now, and we have a lot of possibility, but we're not in that place of, oh, I'm communicating this intention, this emotion.
Yeah, and that's really reading.
Yeah.
It's reading in your bodies. Mm-hmm. The way you sit down, the way you come away from your heads, all of these little moments are things that are information for us because we're like, I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
We might get it, we might not get it. You can't predict it. Right? I don't think you can predict it. Just to find the fire inside. Into the dark of night. I alone.
We prepare ourselves to be available for very, very delicate, subtle possibilities, not just explosive ones. And those also create, goosebumps just as much. In the doing of this, in the movement of it, we become changed. it's really grounded in that desire to experience movement as an individual, to know that I can change. I'm available to change. And becoming available for that is its own practice too.